Everyone, and welcome to the Gillcast. You're either listening to this on the Sports Grid Fantasy Football Podcast or the RotoGrinders Daily Fantasy Football Podcast. We are coming to you guys live 2 days after the main slate. It is Monday morning, Boxing Day, December 26th. And honestly, guys, I'm surprised that you guys showed up because you played bad on Sunday. And unlike me, you did not late swap into the absolute Giga Stone. So, good morning. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys both had a great weekend.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Davis. I'm really happy for you. After these years of swapping and trying to figure it all out and trying to make it happen for yourself, and usually just like getting more gigged than you already did when you swapped.
So gigged.
Christmas just came early for you, and you swapped on a Dak and CeeDee Lamb and the Eagles defense. And I almost texted you beforehand and said, you know what, this is a great idea, especially if Philly's defense scores a touchdown earlier.
Right away.
Yeah, and they did. And man, I'm happy for you. I got to say, the Saturday slate, like playing on Saturday, I think threw me off. It was just
a bad idea. It was also just a bad idea.
Yeah, I like no excuses because my team sucked. I just never felt like, DFS really turns into a routine. Like you guys have your routine where you like set lineups at this time and you do this. And when it's on a different day, like the entire main slate's on a different day and like your whole routine's different in the holidays, then it felt weird. Like I never felt like I really like got a hold of things.
Yeah, it was brutal. Christmas Eve, not a thing I should do again. I mean, I played super light to begin with, but it was
good thing, mate.
I was dead from the get-go.
I mean, and listen to these games we got treated to. Bills, Bears, where Josh Allen threw for 172 yards.
Saints, that's Josh Allen's new normal now, boys. I don't know if you know.
Why did you go there so early?
Saints, Browns, 27 total points. Deshaun Watson leads the game in passing with 135 yards. Seahawks, Chiefs, Mahomes throws 28 passes, his fewest in a game, I believe, of the last 3 seasons. Giants, Vikings ended up being okay. Everyone stacked that game, obviously. Bengals, Patriots, one of the worst exhibitions of football I've ever seen from the Patriots in the first half. And then the Bengals just like thought the game was won, gave up in the second half. Lions, Panthers, dude. There was like 900 yards of rushing by the Panthers in that game. And the DJ Moore slappies still somehow got there. Falcons, Ravens. I don't think Falcons-Ravens was on red zone once. I literally do not remember seeing a single play from that game. Texans-Titans, Derrick Henry does his one classic, he's going to blade you, and that ends up being useless. 22 DraftKings points for whatever he cost, 9,000.
Is that 2 weeks in a row?
Where he's been useless?
No, where he smashed in the first half. Didn't he have like 100 and change?
Yeah, he had the bonus in the first quarter last week and then ended with less than 30. And then honestly, the final blade of the day for the non-swappers has to be Christian McCaffrey, 15 carries, 46 yards, and 2 receptions for 12 yards against the Commanders. Had I not swapped, I would have been losing my mind.
I did not swap. I had McCaffrey and I was losing my mind. Like what's happening here? The Commanders are just such a tilting team. I'm watching this game and all they do is run once, run twice, and then try to pick up like a 3rd and 4. And so many times they did it. And so it's just like they just like took all this time off the clock. They're just like bleeding clock. They're like trying to run it out in the first quarter. And the announcers are like, oh, yeah, the Commanders are first in time of possession and the 49ers are second. And it's just like, dude, the Niners never had the ball. Like, come on, Christian. It's the fantasy playoffs. He's only 50% owned in cash. Like, come on, buddy. He got a touchdown late, but it still was a bad day.
I will say
going into this slate, part of me actually felt a little bit comfortable because I'm like, oh, this is just 2017 DFS. I'm punting at quarterback. I'm paying up for 3 running backs, punting the rest of my lineup, and just taking. I'm going to get 20 points from each of these running backs. That's not what happened. from any of them.
So, all right, these are the teams I played. So I guess I'll say what I started with. So I started with.
Here's a change I think we should make, Davis. I think we should all talk about our own lineups. Or you should like we should all say our own lineups.
It's interesting because we barely talked this week. Like another that's like another routine thing. Normally we're all kind of like swapping notes and stuff when we didn't really do that at all this week. So let's start with Nate. I'd like for Nate to
the people need this
Picasso that he painted. Nate, it's on you, bud.
All right, so like I said, paid up for 3 running backs. Went Cook, who doesn't get any passing work, Ramondre Stevenson, and Christian McCaffrey. That was kind of how I wanted to build. Then I went Daniel Jones. I didn't really think going down to Minshew gave me that much more in my lineup, but it was a mistake. And then I went DK Metcalf, thought he was in a smash spot, had him projected for as much volume as almost anybody on the slate. Richie James Jr., Nelson Aguilar, Dalton Schultz, and Saints D.
I just want to reiterate for the people, was that Nelson Aguilar that you said?
Yeah, Patriots.
Nelson Aguilar.
Gotta get exposure to that. Gotta get exposure to that Patriots passing game.
Back to back. Nelson Aguilar plays on this program the last 2 weeks.
So just so everybody knows, the best part of this entire week was that I saw that Nate had Nelson Aguilar in his lineup in the morning, but for some reason I thought it was Kendrick Bourne. So Kendrick Bourne like ended up smashing, and every time he caught a long
Sammy
pass,
keeps texting, and at one point I was literally like, Sammy, no, and is tilting me on purpose, or does Sammy literally like have him in a GPP? And I was too frustrated to even ask until it was too late. And then I realized Sammy thought I played Kendrick Bourne.
Kendrick Bourne played 11 snaps in total last week against the Raiders, and they just straight up. I mean, what happened is they just straight up benched Nelson Aguilar for Kendrick Bourne. They were like, we are very, very similar to me. They're just sick of looking at Kendrick Bourne, and they need it, or very sick of looking at Nelson Aguilar. So he just got benched in game. 0 targets, 0 receptions, 0 yards on 19 snaps. Nelson Aguilar.
Smooth cash play, Nate. I'm just texting Nate all day like, oh, Kendrick Bourne, like you're a genius. Like this is incredible. I mean,
here's the thing. You want to be like, this is the worst play of all time. How can you do this? Nelson Aguilar, 13% owned in the massive $50 double up. Like this was a play. People played this guy. He was more owned than Jahan Dotson, more owned than Isaiah Hodgins, more owned than Noah Brown and Adam Thielen, all these guys who are playing indoors in good weather. Well,
congratulations, Nate. By the way, just so you know, Kendrick Bourne ended up with 6 for 100 and a touchdown and added a 29-yard rush. That would have been a really good play. You should have done that.
Legit, Aguilar had like 16 targets over the past 2 weeks. He was seeing volume.
Every lineup needed a cheap wide receiver. It's just that the correct cheap wide receiver play, other than Richie James, was just also playing Isaiah Hodgins. Like that.
Yeah, which is so tilting because I was never going to play Hodgins and Richie James together. I was just like, oh yeah, I'm not doing that. Like, no thanks. And I
gotta give a shout out to Cardi, who I believe the top blitz optimal was 6 guys from New York, Minnesota, including Isaiah Hodgins, and double tight end, double Bellinger and Hawkinson, because Cardi's stuff just weights that game environment to such an insane degree. So Cardi,
it was in the dome.
But it was in the dome, but in a dome where the other 8 games of the main slate were being played in like an environment in which you don't even want to walk your dog. Yeah. So all right,
yeah,
Sammy.
I wasn't gonna play. I was not gonna play 2 Giants punt wide receivers.
Yeah, neither was I.
0% chance I could have done that.
Well, all right, Sammy. I also wasn't gonna play Nelson Aguilar, so.
I think what you did was more brain dead than what Nate did, honestly.
Sammy, your team, when it flopped, I thought you had like an aneurysm before lock.
Wow, this was an IKB slate for me. And
no, what you
yeah.
did was not IKB. You say that what you did was a pretty simple 2v2 versus a big train. So you 2v2'd at defense and tight end from a huge train. So I don't think what you did is IKB.
Well,
I don't think it was IKB. I think it's bad. Okay.
Well, I mean, can it be both? So
Sure.
yeah. So here's my lineup. I played Minshew at quarterback. I played Henry, McCaffrey, and Ramondre at running back. Yeah, kind of doing the same thing. We're paying up at all three running back spots. I mean, freaking Ramondre. I mean, Jesus
This
Christ.
Ramondre game is some of the most tilted I've ever been watching professional football. It was so annoying.
Yeah, I'll get through it in a second. We can talk about Ramondre. At receiver, didn't pay up for anybody. I went Juju, who's a straight up beta, DJ Moore, Richie James Jr., and then the 2v2 that this guy is talking about is I played Noah Fant and the Bears over Jordan Akins and the Texans. Is that what everybody did?
Yeah. Which again, these people playing the Texans, come on, bro. They probably ended up being fine, but I just have some pride in yourself. Don't play the Texans defense.
Well, I mean, I'll say this. I mean, I think the Texans scored 11 points or something. Like they
Texans
did.
Texans defense, Eagles defense 25% on 10 points. Bears defense 23% on 3 points. Texans defense 10% owned 11 points. So sure.
Yeah. So I think the real good play, and I hate to be results oriented, but I thought this at the time, I just didn't have the extra $100, was the Eagles defense. They are literally a defense that has probably the best defensive line in the NFL. They are, I mean, just a great team, and they were priced down at 2,200 because of the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they did get 6 sacks. That's kind of unbelievable,
buddy. Yeah, I mean, 6 sacks. People can say, "Oh, they gave up 40 points," and
why were they priced at 2,200? Because everything you just said is right. Their defense, by DVOA and everything, is really good.
Correct. So I thought they were the mispriced of the slate, and everybody knew that, which is why they were one of the highest owned defenses. That's the defense I would have liked to play. I'm
not gonna crucify you for making a defense we've seen these defenses go one way or the other, and the Bears generated some stats. They got 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery, and a sack. It's not like the Bears didn't have opportunities to be a good points per dollar play.
But the slate wasn't going to be won or lost based on Eagles versus Bears.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think it might have been actually, but the point is, what I IKB'd is I played Ramondre straight up over Dalvin. Because I could have played Dalvin. I had the 100,
which I think is actually justifiable too.
Sure, I do too. I think that Ramondre's passing role is just a lot better than Dalvin's has been. And honestly, I just don't think Dalvin's all that good this year, and Ramondre is. And I'm just I don't care what the projections say. The projections liked Cook kind of a tick better, and so I IKB'd that, and then I IKB'd Noah Fant, who I just thought, man, this is it. Noah Fant's having a big day. It's in KC. They're gonna have to throw a bunch. Our boy Tyler Lockett's out. This is Noah Fant season, and he caught a touchdown, I guess, but it was not a good play. Not that Jordan Akins was a great play either. I think Jordan Akins had 3 for 29.
I actually thought
better than Dalton Schultz.
I thought Fant was a pretty strong play and would have tried to get to him had just had salaries been a little bit different. I thought he was the best.
All right, so what did I do that was so brain dead, man?
Derrick Henry, man. You totally did the DeHember. It's the Texans. He's had 1 billion yards against them.
Correct.
So context change. Malik Willis is his quarterback. Malik Willis cannot throw the forward pass. And the spreads for the Texans have really tightened over the course of the last month because they're playing more competitive. I don't know why. I mean, I'm not going to get in the trenches, but the thing is that Henry, just we know what he is at this point. He just is either he's going to get you the 80-yard touchdown or he's not. And they're using him a little bit more in the passing game, I guess. I don't know,
a decent amount more,
but not
bro.
with Malik Willis. That changes everything.
That changes the concept.
The Malik Willis play is what changed everything. And you could have easily gone, because I looked at the Henry teams, but you could have gone Cook and DK over Juju and Henry, and that's just objectively better in my opinion.
I thought Justin Jefferson was the best play of the slate, so he was the one guy instead of building.
But Jefferson was so expensive.
He was like what, 93?
Yeah, Jefferson 600 more than Henry.
Yeah.
But I mean that my prior was I'm playing Justin Jefferson and I'm going to make the rest of it work. So this by the way is the blended optimal. Wait until you hear how this team got there. Okay, Gardner Minshew, McCaffrey, Henry. So McCaffrey and Henry, they're starting in a hole, right? Justin Jefferson, bink. Richie James, bink. Nelson Aguilar, 0. Daniel Bellinger at tight end gets 6. Who does this team play at flex? Highest scoring player of the slate, TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson outscored CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
TJ Hawkinson at tight end, 17% owned in the massive $50 double up, 38.9 points.
Tilting.
I mean, just play good, dude. Just run good and play.
Man,
TJ
there was somebody in one of my seasonal leagues in the playoffs who benched Hawkinson, and
oh no,
yeah, it's very tough. Very tough.
You're never coming back from that, dude. Just retire.
Not.
Yeah. Oh, benching TJ. I actually saw a couple people in some of these Discords I'm in being like, should I play Taysom over Kittle? Should I play Taysom over Hawkinson? Because there was that whole, Taysom's going to just run the entire game or whatever.
Yeah, he did all right.
He did. I mean, he scored a touchdown. But
yeah, I think he had like 56 and a touchdown, something like that. Like, yeah.
So I played, to begin with, very similar team to both of you guys, actually overlapping in different ways. I also did not play Derrick Henry. I also got the snowflakes from Dalvin Cook and Ramondre. The Cook thing is extra tilting because he actually did get work as a receiver. He actually was getting targeted. He just was not doing fuck all with it. The Ramondre thing, I mean, we can tilt the Patriots till the cows come home. I mean, this guy, the Patriots in the first half of games seems like what are they doing? They're just like actively trying not to advance the ball. Justin Jefferson, to me, was the best play of the slate. Preferred him to Henry. Just thought he was a lot better. Richie James, Nelson Aguilar, buddy. Nelson Aguilar. And I looked at different guys like, Tyquan Thornton, Noah Brown for the Cowboys.
Wait, you had Aguilar too?
I had Aguilar too.
My God, you guys get your head out of the spreadsheets. Touch some grass. I mean, Jesus H. Christ.
Listen to this, dude. Had I played Kendrick Bourne, right? So I get the Kendrick Bourne. What do you get? 6 catches, 100 yards. So he's got
129 and
plus
1
a
total.
Touchdown. So he's got like 22 points or whatever. I'm not swapping, right? I'm not going to make the swap because I'm like, Kendrick Bourne, I'm home free, and then I would have been stuck with McCaffrey's bullshit. So Daniel Bellinger at tight end. I thought Bellinger was better than Akins for sure. Was worth the salary difference from Akins. I think they ended up scoring like literally the same amount of points. And then I had McCaffrey in the flex, the Eagles defense. But at the end of the noon games, I'm staring at 10 points from Dalvin, 4 points from Ramondre, 35 from Jefferson, 17 from Richie James, 0 from Nelson Aguilar, and 5 from Daniel Bellinger. I'm like, I'm dust, dude. There's no way that Gardner Minshew and Christian McCaffrey are going to get me there. So I swapped to Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb, get 32 from Dak, 37 from CeeDee Lamb, and 10 points from the Eagles defense. And just, I don't know. Is this swap better, or was the 1v1 swap to Tyreek Hill in 2019 where he got like 50 better?
No, this swap with the Christmas spirit. The
Christmas spirit, I think.
I thought you were
so
dead. I thought you were so dead. And when you texted boys, I was like, had to be better. You came back from the dead.
Yeah, this was a true Christmas miracle. CeeDee Lamb, like that first touchdown that he hits him in the corner and CeeDee just puts his foot in the ground and like the defender flies by him and he just like walks into the end zone and you're like, oh, buddy.
On like a more serious level though, like that is why I'm swapping in these like non-trivial spots. Like if I'm down 10 points to the train, I'm not just going to be like, well, I hope that McCaffrey goes nuts at 60% owned and I get 5% back. Cause like I don't know, if I'm going to get smoked anyways, I'd rather get smoked with the dude who's 3% owned than get smoked with it. Cause you're not giving yourself any. I mean, obviously, like the sim bros and the math bros would be way better at this, but it feels like it is better to add to your risk of ruin for a chance of a clean sweep than hope for your best case scenario to be like winning 5%. I don't know, Nate. What do you think about that?
I don't want to have another conversation about swap on the show. I feel like we do it every week, and every time it doesn't work for you.
It's so,
and once in 4 years it does.
It's a big part of the game though now because everyone's playing such similar teams.
I think
it's true.
You don't have a great system at evaluating where you're at though, whether or not you need to make swaps.
Oh, no
I do
chance.
agree that that making swaps when you are objectively behind works. Like if you're looking at a head-to-head lineup, I think yes, that's when you should swap when you know what the other team has. What is really hard is to evaluate where you're sitting and
where you actually are.
Yeah. And I think for you tend to overestimate how dead you are. And instead of just sticking with the highest projected lineup going forward, that would get you above the 50%, you end up swapping way too often. Where if you're looking at a head-to-head and you know objectively that you're dead, then it makes sense.
Well, that's the added context too, is you're like trying to achieve kind of different things in head-to-heads and double ups a little bit. And also like you could actually, if you had a clock stopper or whatever before the late PM game start, you could go through every head-to-head game and optimize for what you need, but no one's got time for that.
Yeah, I mean, the good news for Davis is he starts evaluating swaps in the first quarter of the morning games. He's just like, oh, Derrick Henry scored a touchdown. What are my swaptions?
The Henry thing too is so annoying because you're like, it's like like people who played Henry was like, yeah, you play Henry, dude. He had 100 yards and a touchdown at the end of the first quarter. You got so lucky to not get the blade. And then the people like me who are like, I'm not playing Derrick Henry, are like, yeah, look, dude, he got 100 yards and a touchdown and then just absolutely did nothing for the rest of the game because the Titans. I mean, that's the big question. They're the big thing right now. It's just that the Titans absolutely stink, and that is it's objectively bad for a running back.
Yeah, it's it was tough. I mean, Jefferson, I did prefer Jefferson, but he was $700 more. Like it wasn't a trivial amount. It was 8,600 to 9,300. So but it's December. It's Henry. Like of course he gets there. Obviously. Yeah. And you are pretty lucky he didn't score twice.
Yeah.
I'll take the L because Malik Willis is certainly not NFL ready. And we have a lot of non-NFL ready quarterbacks out there and they completely destroy the offenses. So
like Mac Jones. Mac Jones not NFL ready, destroying the Patriots offense.
Jesus. Does Mac Jones does he have a job next year? This guy sucks.
I think Kenny Pickett and Mac Willis are both pretty fascinating. What is Kenny Pickett going to be the week 1 starting quarterback of the Steelers next year?
I mean,
I gotta be. What else? What other option do you have? I feel go away from a guy that quick.
Yeah, I feel fairly confident that I've talked about this before, but I just don't see the Steelers being like ballsy enough to just draft another quarterback and be like, "Yo, this guy sucks." Like we're out.
And I think Pickett's different than Mac Jones. Pickett offers something that with enough time, I think could be something where Mac Jones literally has nothing else to go on.
Well, would it surprise you to know that Kenny Pickett is the same age? Kenny Pickett is 80 days younger than Mac Jones.
I thought he was going to say he's my age. He's the same age as Sammy Reed.
All right, let's do tournament stuff real quick. And we were going to do listener questions, but honestly, you guys didn't send anything that was really that interesting, so we're not doing that. Nate, you can go first. This will be the listener's Christmas treat. Is what did Nate play in tournaments when he was distracted by his family on Christmas Eve?
No, I got bad news. I was working all Christmas Eve. I didn't play tournaments. I just played cash.
Let's hear about the prize picks, Nate.
I actually did all right in prize picks, luckily, but no, I don't have any. I don't like you guys got to go. I don't have.
Okay, Sammy, you can go if you got your stuff pulled up.
No, I don't. You have to go. I have to find it.
All right. Well, this was my approach, which was everyone is going to be absolutely jamming these indoor games, right? Everyone's going to be and I thought Dallas Philadelphia was a pretty good jam. I thought New York Minnesota, like it's interesting, but it's like how owned were some of these pieces in these games. You know, Minshew was 20%, McKinnon was 35% owned in tournaments. Hawkinson was double digits. You know, all the Giants guys were double digits. Hodgins and Richie James. Justin Jefferson was 30%. So I was like, I don't think I can play Daniel Jones at 18% owned in tournaments and look myself in the eye. So I didn't. So I played I played a lot of Chiefs stuff.
I was just gonna say you obviously played Patrick Mahomes. We all know it. Like
yeah.
And
my thesis heading into it was that I thought that Mahomes double stacks are just like at this point no one's playing them. People are completely done playing Chiefs wide receivers, and they're playing a little bit of Kelsey. Obviously, they're playing a lot of McKinnon. Like, I mean, we even had this whole conversation on the Swolecast this week about just playing him naked, which like feels bad. So I did Mahomes double stack. I did it with Juju, and of course, I had to do it with Sky Moore, who continues to play a role on the offense. He just doesn't earn any targets. Like, he's the opposite of Justin Watson, where he gets targets when he's out there, but Justin Watson is totally empty calories. And I played him with and obviously Sky got his one little gadget play in the red zone and didn't score. And Kadarius Toney scored on his gadget play in the red zone, but Sky Moore is 3,000 and Toney is 5,000. I played Miles Sanders at 8% at running back. That felt pretty good. Leverage on Minshew and whatnot. Ramondre at 10%. So done with the Patriots. CeeDee Lamb at 5% was pretty surprising that he was so low owned. He got 37. Noah Fant at 10%. Like I said, I thought he was a pretty good play. And then I played Kittle in the flex on this team. So, you know, had the stack done anything, maybe it would have been in a good spot because my one-offs combined for 74 fantasy points. So no, did not win the SPY with 5 points from Juju and 1.5 points from Sky Moore.
Juju, what happened? I mean, I know they didn't like throw the ball a whole lot, but like
they threw the ball 28 times. Like he's useless in those games.
What occurred? Like Juju's
this is why the Chiefs double stacks, like I maybe it'll just never hit this year, and I'll have just been tossing bad money after bad. But it feels like if a quarterback is going to lead the NFL in passing attempts, passing yards, and passing touchdowns, there probably should be a couple weeks where double stacking him ends up being profitable if no one's playing his wide receivers. Like, I don't know, Nate. What am I just donking it off at this point?
I don't know. It does seem like the thing that we chase forever, and it just never gets there. But he continues to score. It's gonna be there eventually. But yeah, it does just seem to be so spread out that like
the reason why it's not getting there is that McKinnon is the guy you've needed. You've needed to be like Kelsey McKinnon, you know.
Well, that's the thing. He actually spreads it out between like it's spread out between running back, between wide receiver, between tight end, and it's impossible. Where normally, like if Dak has 4 touchdowns, 2 are going to go to CD, 2 is going to go to, you know, Dalton Schultz or something like that.
Schultz, like, Brown, whoever, yeah.
Like Kansas City is just it's hard, and until there's another alpha there like Tyreek, like I don't know.
Imagine how hard it's going to be to double stack him next year when Kelsey's 34 and is like running routes in a wheelchair.
I know.
All right, Sammy, it's on you.
All right. So I did double stack Mahomes with McKinnon and Travis Kelce. That, you know, I mean, McKinnon did not have his big day, unfortunately. But I brought it back with Marquise Goodwin, who is probably one of the all-time worst GPP plays ever because he was
how owned was he?
I don't want to say it out loud because this is just all time dull. I mean,
20%.
22%. So solid ass goose egg out of Marquise Goodwin at 22%. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's so brutal. So brutal. So that was my stack. And obviously I'm just dest in the water. I did play J.K. Dobbins at my other running back spot.
He ended up getting super pumped. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I mean, just sucks.
I think we got to blame our friends that established the run on that one. I think they really liked him.
Well, I mean, I just thought it could have been the Falcons really suck, and the Ravens have obviously been really run heavy with Huntley in there, and they don't want him to throw a lot. So
I don't understand. Some site has a projection that loves Baltimore running backs because
it's not projections.
Drake a few weeks ago got super steamed too. It's just
Nate, it shows. It's like Levitan and Silva on Sunday morning being like, J.K. Dobbins, bro, good spot. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but I know that it's not a projections based thing. I know that it's a content based thing.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely DM Adam and be like, yo, you owe me some money for this J.K. Dobbins thing. No, honestly, like I didn't watch any shows this week or anything like that. Like I didn't consume content.
I mean, I get the thought. It's like Dobbins is cheap. He's had a couple games of good results. They're only going to win via running the ball. Tyler Huntley can't throw. Like I get it.
Yeah, but he had 50 at half and ended up with 59. So JK on me. I did play Devontae Smith in this lineup. I think he had 3 points at halftime, something like that. I think he was 2 for 10 at the half, or maybe he had a 0. But
Devonta Smith is trying to will some of my teams to the best ball finals.
I mean, he's pretty awesome. Like
he's so good, dude.
Yeah, and he's like the ideal number 2 because he's like such a craftsman. I'm not sure that he's like cut out to be like an alpha. But like he's just such a craftsman, such a great route runner, like such a good 1A. I mean, God, the guy's just so good. He's closet like basically AJ Brown's equal, but never costs as much, and you can get him like rounds later in fantasy. So
and people were scared of him this week because of Dallas Goedert returning. So he was really like, even in that game that was indoors, he was not that popular.
Yeah, they also might have been worried about Trayvon Diggs,
Yeah, weren't you worried?
Yeah,
right.
Worried.
So I did play Richie James Jr. in this lineup, and I finished it out with
anytime you can play Daniel Jones's slot wide receiver at 39% owned, you got to do it.
In tournaments, Richie James and Marquise Goodwin.
Well, I played Noah Brown, so I had the Devontae Smith and Noah Brown mini correlation, and then I played Baltimore's defense, so I had the Baltimore defense and J.K. Dobbins mini correlation. Noah Brown, just ended up getting like cucked. I think Gallup like outproduced him. I know he caught 2 touchdowns last week. It wasn't
T.Y. Hilton played is what ended up happening. Is that T.Y. Hilton came in? I mean, T.Y. Hilton ended up maybe having one of the best plays of the entire season, catching a 50-yard bomb on 3rd and 30 to give the Cowboys like a huge winning spot against their division rivals.
Yeah, I feel like that play was like a huge play that kept a lot of points happening in this game. It was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. It was very huge for the same. Good job, T.Y. Hilton. And also like, you had CeeDee Lamb. I had a lot of CeeDee Lamb in fantasy playoffs because I was big on him this draft season. And CD, baby, he came through, and T.Y. Hilton was his Robin. So thanks, T.Y. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
But this team sucked ass. It did not cash. It did not deserve to cash, and I am broke and poor and sad. Congratulations to me.
Well, that's life. We made it through this period. We are we're 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks away from having Peter joined the show for cash game week in week 18. Gonna be an even extra weird week 18 too, because I think so many teams are gonna have their playoff spots wrapped up by then. Like I think the AFC top 3 seeds should be decided by then. The bye week in the NFC is going to be this. It's going to be like a real shit show. And
it's gonna be nice.
It's gonna so really I'm really looking forward to like Laviska Shenault making the cash game shell as the slot wide receiver in the must-win game between the Panthers and the Bucs.
It'll be good.
What's gonna get flexed to primetime? Jags, Titans, or the Buccaneers week 18 game?
I haven't even looked at week 18. I don't know.
I hope Tom Brady doesn't get another primetime game. I mean, it's just
I thought they were flexing Steelers Ravens. I thought they said that.
That's next weekend, I think.
What's this weekend? What week is it?
Oh my Jesus Christ. The NFL really hates us, dude. Next week's slate is New Year's Day.
Well, I mean, you'll be hungover and hanging out. Like,
oh, dude.
Yeah. That's way different than Christmas, bro. Can I just let a little tilt out for
this was a nightmare through and through to have these games on Christmas Eve and Christmas.
Yeah, it really was. I need to let a little tilt out for the people before we go. I had this 5-leg parlay on Prize Picks, and when you do 5, you're allowed to like smash one team. So I smashed Waddle, Tyreek, and Tua overs, all on yardage. 63.5 for Jalen, 86.5 for Tyreek's, 270.5 for Tua, and they all smashed it, and they all got there. I also had more than 20.5 yards for Rashid Shaheed. He smashed that. And the one thing I needed to
was
clean
it Aaron
up this...
Rodgers?
No. It's worse. It is DeAndre Hopkins over 57.5 yards. And I was just like, oh, yeah, like, I don't care how bad the quarterback is. This guy's getting 10 targets. He'll get more than 57 yards. He got 4 yards on 10 targets to finish off the day. Congratulations to me on being broken sad. Thanks, DeAndre Hopkins. Appreciate that.
That was
I had some Rodgers tickets that were like 4 yards away. That was tilting.
I did
Aaron
a
Rodgers?
couple.
Yeah. You shouldn't ever gamble on. You had overs.
Unfortunately, I did.
On Aaron Rodgers in the year of our Lord 2023.
The ayahuasca melted his brain, dude.
Jesus.
I had a 10-leg all unders parlay on Saturday during the horrible weather. If you had to guess which player with a storied history on this show ruined I got 9 out of 10 unders.
Mark Andrews?
No, he got over his.
On Saturday?
On Saturday. NFC player. We hate this guy. David Montgomery. Over. It was like over 68.5 combo yards, and he got like 75 or whatever. But I was so tilted when I went back and realized that it was freaking Montgomery that did it.
That sucks. You saw Khalil Herbert came back, and you're like, oh, this guy's relegated.
And just they're like they're gonna be down. It's whatever. Gambling is so stupid, man. I'm so tired.
Man, you should probably just sit out the rest of the year, Davis. You're swapped to the stone ass nuts to like sweep. I mean, you ended up with like 150 something points.
Yes, it only goes downhill from here. That is the highlight of your season.
Yeah. This is long-term minus EV for Davis because he's just gonna like start swapping even harder and just chasing the dragon.
It would be great to just turn over the nuts once, like to be the guy who has the 40 burger from TJ Hawkinson in the early games. Like that would be nice.
I've had that feeling a couple weeks this year.
We both had it like one week when Sammy took the show off and we were like, what do we even talk about? Like we won, we went about our day. Like, there was no drama. All right, boys, let's get out of here. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Stay safe. And we will be back with y'all. God, on apparently on January 2nd. See y'all in 2023.